But I like that you shared all of this, and I'm sure that we'll see a lot more of this in the future. Let's talk about what's your kind of immediate focus, immediate goals, and what do you have planned for the near future?
Okay. Yeah. So I've been traveling quite a bit recently. I actually head out again on Friday. So I'm going to play a Colorado Women's Open event. And then from there, for the rest of the season, pretty much just Symetra Tour events. And they range, from Michigan to New York to, just all over the place, typically more of Central and East. So my goal for that is... Obviously, if you finish in the top 10 on the money list at the end of the season, you get your full card for the following year for LPGA. But if that is not the case, then my goal is to finish in the top 30, which will allow me to go to the final stage of qualifying school. And from there, you can play to get your card. So they have the rankings, top 10, top 30, top 80, and top 125. But the goal is obviously to get to top 30 for me personally for this season. And playing in these events gives me the opportunity to make cuts, make money, possibly win one.
Yes.
And just kind of go from there. Yes. And then for the mental aspect, I just read a great book called How Champions Think. Okay. And it's for sports and life. And I had a 7-hour plane ride on the way back here. So I'm like, I have time to read this. And I finished the whole book. A lot of the stuff I've heard before, but it was also just a good refresher and a good reminder because sometimes you forget. And it kind of made me realize, the amount of time that I've been doing this and the amount of reps, I have all the physical things that I need. So what I actually really need to prioritize for me personally is the mental aspect. And that takes a lot of discipline. And sometimes it sounds like the stupidest things, but it makes the biggest difference. So kind of what I've decided to do is every night before I go to sleep, whether it be a practice round or a tournament, I'm going to go through my round in my head, actually close your eyes and visualize. And anytime I, remember that I hit a bad shot, I'm going to erase it and replace it with a good shot. And then, I've read some drills in the book where it would say like, what you could do is make a little reel of yourself, making putts, hitting great shots, and like whatever, like a 10-minute, 5-minute video, and you watch it every day. And it just kind of like unconsciously kind of, makes you remember all the good shots that you hit. And then, a couple other drills that I picked up from that camp that I learned. Yes. So I think that is going to be my number one priority.
That's
going
good.
Into
That's
these events.
Really exciting, and that takes practice too to develop this mental skills. And the more that you practice it consistently, it will definitely pay off in the reality and the physical skill as well. So I will definitely put that book in the show notes. I will probably read it. I learned tons from every athlete, but the mental aspect, that is huge for whatever you're doing. Whether you're a professional athlete or you're just someone that's just looking to, instill some healthier habits or strength and conditioning routines, then try to approach it from that mental side too, because that will fully make it either a very good workout where you feel good about it, or it could just be something that you're going through the motions again, which it doesn't provide that much benefit at that point.
Right. And the ultimate goal for me is obviously not to just get to the LPGA, it's to be a top player on the LPGA.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people who maybe they don't play the sport professionally, they think it's very glamorous, and it can be. But I think the behind the scenes and the grind and all the stuff, the not so glamorous things that go into it, a lot of people don't realize, the effort and what you have to do to get there.
Yes.
So, I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely a lot of work.
This is definitely a grind, and I know this is just the tip of the iceberg of your story. We can continue these episodes, maybe we'll do another one in the future.
Oh yeah.
When you definitely get your pro card, you make it on the LPGA tour and get more success too. But it's like I say with everybody, people don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see the obstacles. They don't see the hard times, and that's all part of the process to, achieve all of the goals that you set out to. So,
and I try to showcase that on my social media, or just like in person if you meet me. I like to just be authentic and keep it real and be myself, because I think a lot of the media shows all the good shots. They show all the good highlight reels, which is fine. I mean, they're cool to watch, but I haven't really seen anyone that shows the other stuff.
Yes.
Not just the good, but I want to see the bad.
Yes.
And so, when people ask me questions, or if they need tips or advice, or maybe it's someone who wants to pursue also a professional golf career, I'm very truthful, and I say everything that I've experienced and what to expect. And
I like that you keep it real. And this conversation, we definitely can hear some of all of that backstory and everything. And that's what really makes it fun. before we leave, I know you have a lot of things that you have to do when you're home for this short stint. But before we leave, is there any last words or last messages for anybody out there that could be either striving for goals or maybe having a rough time or anything like that? Is there anything that you want to pass on to the general, anyone that's listening?
I mean, just from what I've learned, you know, whatever you're pursuing in life, again, it doesn't have to be sports, whether it be business or whatever profession you're in. I think you should obviously pick something that you are passionate about and that you enjoy doing, because you will be on the journey for a long time. And like I said earlier, you have to just enjoy the entirety of everything. And again, there's nothing wrong with having expectations and standards, but, you know, also give yourself credit sometimes. Yes. You work hard to where you get to. And I think a lot of it is the confident, cocky aspect of it. If you put in the preparation and the work for whatever you're doing, you kind of have to go out there, and when it's time to go and you get the opportunity to do what you want to do, I think it's so important to understand that confidence comes from within. Regardless, and yes, you have, you know, your inner team or your inner friends, family, whatever it is, you know, they're positive to be around and you feed off of that, but I think that only does so much. I think the confidence and the knowing that you're good and that all the preparation that you and the work that you put in, that's what will fuel your confidence, regardless of how you perform or whether you got the job or whatever it is. Yes. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. If a lot of people, I mean, we all are improving that, right? But just that belief and confidence in yourself. Yes.
Self-belief and faith is my biggest thing that I would say in whatever you're doing.
Yes. Great message and great conversation. We'll definitely have to do this again, but we wish you all the best moving forward. I'm going to be following along your career. Maybe one day we'll go on the golf course.
Absolutely.
And you can be like, what is this mess? But no, it'll be fun. But I look forward to all of this. I mean, thank you again so much for coming on the podcast. And
no problem. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, this was fun. We'll do it again.